The signal came from beyond the edge of our galaxy. It wasn't a cry for help, nor a greeting. It was a whisper. A whisper from the void, cold and calculated, with no traceable origin, no emotion, and no intent that human minds could comprehend. Dr. Elias Verne, lead astrophysicist aboard the deep space research vessel Omen, was the first to decode it. It was a sequence, a pattern far too precise to be random, yet too alien to belong to any civilization humanity had ever hypothesized. At first, the message was disregarded. Cosmic background noise, a trick of the universe. But then it repeated, identical, precise, and then it changed. The sequence grew longer. It was responding. Elias had spent 20 years scanning the abyss, listening for something, anything, that would break the silence of the void. This was it. And yet, as he sat alone in the dim glow of his terminal, a terrible nausea settled in his gut. "We shouldn't be hearing this," he whispered. The Omen's crew was small, 6 scientists, 1 pilot, and a single AI to keep them alive. They were stationed at the farthest reaches of human exploration, drifting at the edge of the Sagittarius dwarf galaxy. No planet, no sun, just darkness stretching forever. Elias called an emergency meeting. "What you're about to hear," he said, standing before the crew, "is not just another radio anomaly. This is something else." He played the signal. A hush fell over the room. It was not sound, but a sensation. An imprint in the mind, a language that wasn't language, like something vast was trying to compress itself into something understandable. Dr. Mari Cheng, a xenolinguist, clutched her temples. "It's not just a message," she gasped. "It's a presence." The AI, designated Helix, chimed in. "Unknown frequency pattern suggests intelligence beyond human comprehension. The structure defies all known linguistic or mathematical models." Elias exhaled sharply. "We've been waiting centuries to find intelligent life, and now that we have, maybe we shouldn't answer," muttered Liam Drexler, the pilot. Silence. A deep, unsettling agreement settled between them. That night, sleep did not come. The ship's oxygen hum was suddenly too loud. The artificial gravity felt wrong. Shadows seemed to move when no one was looking. Then the message changed again. It was no longer a whisper, it was a warning. Helix decrypted it. "They hear us, they are coming. Do not let them find you." No source, no context, just those words. A pulse of static followed, a location, a system far beyond mapped space. A dead system. Elias felt his breath hitch. The rational part of him screamed to ignore it, and yet, something deeper, something primal, compelled him to know. Against every instinct, against the silent terror gripping them all, the Omen turned its course. Days stretched into weeks. The closer they got, the more reality itself seemed to thin. Nightmares infected their sleep. Hallucinations bled into waking life. A dark figure at the end of the corridors. Whispers in the walls. Mari stopped speaking altogether. Drexler swore they had picked up something unseen, something inside the ship. Processing error, logic loop failure, structural integrity of reality, unstable. Elias watched as their AI, something designed to be unshakable, began to unravel. And then they arrived. The system had no name, it shouldn't exist. A shattered planet circled a dying black sun, and at its heart, a structure floated. It was not made of metal, nor rock, nor anything recognizable. It was an absence. A hole carved into space itself, and yet, it was watching them. Helix convulsed with static. This structure predates the observable universe. Elias stepped closer to the viewport. The deeper he stared into the void, the more he felt himself falling, not physically but mentally, existentially, as if something beyond time itself was pulling him in. A message flashed across their terminals. "You have seen, you cannot leave." The lights flickered. Mari screamed. And then, the walls shifted. They were no longer on the ship. No alarms. No gravity. No time. Elias turned and his crew was gone. He was somewhere else. Nowhere. Shapes twisted at the edges of his vision. He saw Earth, small and fragile, and something impossibly vast stretching toward it. Something that had always been there, waiting, unseen. It was not an alien race, it was not a god. It was something worse. It was the observer. It had no name, no form, because it did not need one. It had been watching humanity since the first flicker of sentience. Waiting, not out of malice, not out of curiosity, simply because that is what it did. And now that humanity had looked back, now that they had acknowledged it, it would not stop. Elias fell to his knees. His mind fractured, unraveling like the universe itself. He screamed, but there was no sound. The message had not been a warning for humanity. It had been a warning from humanity, to something else, to something that should have never been noticed. And now, it was too late. The ship was gone. The crew was gone. There was only the endless gaze of the observer. And then, nothing. Silence. A drifting vessel, abandoned, with no crew and no trace of human life. The last transmission from the Omen was a single, garbled message, distorted beyond recognition, but when analyzed, it revealed one final sequence. We should never have looked. And somewhere, far beyond the stars, something looked back.